specialist, Daniel Sloan, and today we are bringing you an introduction to the culture of research and education webinar series, Building Your Academic and Professional Toolkit. Today's session will be led by Dr. Bernice B. Ramallah. Dr. Ramallah is Program Director of the PhD in Health Sciences Program, Professor of Health Sciences, and Core Chair. Dr. Ramallah earned her PhD degree and 3 master's degrees from Columbia University in New York and a certificate in clinical and translational science from the Rockefeller University. She is also a former Fulbright Fogarty Fellow and National Institutes of Health CRTA Fellow. Dr. Ramallah's professional and research interests include creative, innovative leadership, social detriments of health and education equity, multidisciplinary collaborative scholarship, programmatic development, evidence-based strategic planning, and community-based participatory research. Learn more at trident.edu/degrees/doctoral, DOCTORAL. Before we start, a few things to keep in mind. All participants are muted. If you have a question, please submit it via the question box or email it to me at daniel.sloan@trident.edu. That's SLOAN. There will be time for questions and answers at the end of the session. This session will be recorded and all attendees will receive a link to the webinar and other useful information later this week. And now, here's Dr. Ramallah.
Thank you, Daniel, for the introduction. Welcome, everyone, to the Culture of Research and Education webinar series kickoff. It is my pleasure to propose and spearhead the Culture of Research and Education series, also known as the CORE Initiative, in collaboration with my colleagues, Dr. Indira Guzman and Dr. Wayne Lee, in the Colleges of Business and Education. This series was created to address professional development needs based on popular demand. And Daniel has already gone over my background, and I'm very excited to utilize this background to spearhead the Culture of Research and Education webinar series. We have a number of faculty experts at Trident, world-renowned faculty, and we're looking forward to having them contribute their expertise throughout this webinar series. As you know, great ideas and innovation are born from multidisciplinary collaboration. Hence, this series is a collaboration between the doctoral programs and the Colleges of Business, Education, and Health Sciences. The purpose of CORE is twofold: to provide skill-building information for your academic toolkit and skill-building information for your professional toolkit. We target a very broad audience, which includes doctoral students, master's students, the general public, alumni for continuing education, and anyone who's interested in adding to their toolkit for professional development, personal development, as well as academic development. Through the information provided, the goal is to build a community of scholars, increase opportunities for multidisciplinary engagement and dialogue, and to grow the culture and philosophy of research. Some of the faculty will be talking about their research for multidisciplinary engagement in an effort to grow the community of scholars. And lastly, as mentioned before, our goal is to provide continuing education to the public. So we have some very exciting topics lined up based on popular demand for professional development. Some of the exciting upcoming topics that will be delivered by our experts include communicating your professional and scholarly work with the media, developing your teaching, research, and professional philosophies for jobs and career advancement. How do you become an expert in your field? Building your scholarly presence through conference presentations, publishing in journals and books. Taking a look at manuscripts to see what are journals looking for. We will also be discussing writing groups and negotiating authorship, the art, science, and politics of good grantsmanship, and we will also be highlighting research and practice, application of research skills in the field, lessons across disciplines. And this will include the highlights of our scholarly work from our faculty, students, as well as some guest speakers. We will also be taking a look at an overview of research ethics from an IRB perspective. How does one critically review a research article? What does your online presence say about you in terms of your academic portfolio? And how do you work with your public affairs office to improve this? And we will be discussing strategies for negotiating, learning from the experts. There are many more exciting topics outlined for you, and we're very excited to share this as part of the core webinar series. So I would like everyone who's listening to bring out your phones for us to test the poll. The purpose of this is throughout the core webinar series, we are seeking to engage our audience both during the presentations and afterwards. If you're unable to participate right now, don't worry, this poll will be open after the webinar for you to participate. So if you can bring out your phones and go to slido.com, that is SLIDO.com, the event code is CORE, and I will provide you with 1 to 2 minutes to bring out your phones. And I've taken a screenshot to show you the questions that will be asked, and I'm now going to migrate to the poll. Okay, so the poll questions are, or rather it's one question is, I am interested in this webinar, and please choose all that applies: to contribute to my professional knowledge, to contribute to my academic knowledge, to contribute to my research knowledge, to learn more about the doctoral programs, or I am just exploring. Again, please take 1 to 2 minutes to answer the question. The website again is slido.com. The event code is CORE, C-O-R-E. Okay, I see that some votes have come in. And don't worry if you're having difficulty with your devices. Again, this will be available after the presentation. It will be open for those who choose to watch the recording afterwards. Thank you for participating in this poll. The results will be made available to you during our next webinar. We have a number of faculty experts who will be participating in the core webinar series. I've just highlighted a select few in the next few slides. We have Dr. Frank Gomez, who is a professor of health science, as well as one of our PhD faculty mentors. His expertise and experience is in environmental health, public health. He's also an armed forces veteran and also focuses on military veterans education as part of his expertise. He received his doctorate in public health from the University of California, Los Angeles, as well as an MPH from the UCLA School of Public Health. He has more than 40 years of experience in the field of environmental public health and higher education and has published numerous papers, books, and book chapters. We also have Dr. Indira Guzman. She is the program director for the PhD program in business administration and also a professor of business administration. Her expertise and experiences are in IT occupational culture and information security, as well as business administration. She received her PhD and master's degree at Syracuse University in New York. She has served as a Fulbright Fellow, and she has also published numerous papers, books, and book chapters in the areas of IT and banking, and has a lot of practical experience in those areas. Dr. Wei-Ling Lee is the program director for the PhD program in education leadership, as well as a professor of education, and her expertise and experiences in education leadership. She received her PhD in cognitive psychology from Beijing Normal University and served as a postdoc fellow in the Department of Psychology at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. She has also published numerous books and papers, as well as served as a reviewer for multiple journals. Lastly, we have Dr. Tanya Murray, who is the program director for general education, and her expertise and experiences in microbial ecology, ecosystem sustainability, as well as science curriculum development. She received her PhD in biological sciences at Syracuse University and was, as an accomplishment, has an outstanding graduate teaching assistant award from Syracuse University. We have many more outstanding faculty contributing to this core team, and we're very grateful to share their knowledge with you in our upcoming core webinar series. So how do you maximize your core experience? We would like you to maximize your core experience through participating in webinars, listening to the recordings, and applying the knowledge learned towards your academic and professional toolkit. We would also like you to follow up and engage with fellow students and faculty. And remember that CORE is a community of scholars. I would like to provide a special thanks to Trident University faculty and leadership for providing resources to support this initiative so that it is openly shared with the public. Trident University offers WASP-accredited 100% online doctoral programs in business administration, education leadership, and the health sciences. I would like to open the floor for questions now.
Yeah, Dr. Ramallah, we have one question so far. So one of the participants would like to know if you could distinguish between conventional or I guess brick and mortar university research practices and those of an online university, or is there a difference?
Wonderful question. Thank you for that question. So there actually isn't a difference between conventional research practice at the brick and mortar institutions versus online. We all follow the same theoretical and pedagogical frameworks in terms of our research practice. I would say that the online environment actually offers a lot of access in terms of collaboration via e-collaboration. And so it actually enhances multidisciplinary collaborations utilizing the online platform. It's certainly done also at the traditional brick and mortar institutions, but I can say that the online environment provides greater access for that. But in answer to your question, no, there isn't a difference. But it certainly helps in terms of enhancing multidisciplinary collaborative scholarship when the e-platform is used. And that's one of the topics of our webinar series that will be coming up as far as how do you enhance multidisciplinary collaborations towards innovation in your scholarly work using e-collaborative methods.
Okay, great. We have another question, and this participant would like to know, how closely do PhD students work with professors when it comes to research?
So our doctoral students, and I'm speaking from the standpoint of our Trident students, work very closely with our PhD faculty mentors in terms of developing their research ideas, their research framework, developing the methodology. So some of our students do come in with a research topic in mind. However, our faculty are here to help them develop their interest and their ideas within the right research context, using the right theoretical frameworks. So we work very, very closely with our students so that they're developing and progressing in their dissertation.
Next question, do you have any general recommendations for research topics from Trident?
Oftentimes when working with students who are not particularly sure of what they might want to research, we speak with our students and find out where their areas of passion are. If the student is working, we also ask if they might have access to perhaps databases within their areas of employment. Many of our students are in vast professional areas. Some are military veterans, some are working within hospital systems, some within education. And so we normally meet with our students, have an e-meeting to find out where their areas of passion are and to find out where the access is in terms of data. We also inform them of the availability of secondary data tools for secondary data analyses. So there are a variety of approaches that we use with our students to help them explore where their interests might lie and to find out where the available data sets might be, or if they might need to collect the data. But there are multiple approaches similar to what's done at other institutions.
Okay, great. We have a few more questions coming in right now. Next one, is there a timeline for students to complete their dissertation?
Great question. So the timeline depends on each individual student. For students who take an aggressive approach in terms of completing their didactic coursework by taking about 2 to 3 courses per session, they can expect to complete within 3 to 4 years. However, the average time frame is 5 years for students who choose to take one course per session. So the answer is it's up to the individual student in terms of their progress with the didactic coursework, meaning the coursework that's before the dissertation. But also it depends on the dissertation project itself. and how the student is progressing in terms of meeting their milestones towards dissertation completion. So it's highly dependent on the student, but we expect our students to complete the PhD program within 3 to 5 years. In the case of the doctoral program in educational leadership, the EDD program, it's 3 years.
Okay, next question. Is there a list of what is required to get approval from the board to use a research idea?
So the IRB normally goes through an individual's research proposal to make sure that there aren't any ethical issues there. However, I will answer this question by saying that we will have an entire webinar series on the Institutional Review Board, and they would best be able to explain in detail the requirements. And I encourage the person who asked, as well as other participants listening to this broadcast and the recording in the future, to listen to our IRB webinar. In addition, the questions that were asked about programs that are program specific within education, business, or health sciences, I encourage our participants to reach out to our program directors. I have included my contact information on the last slide, and I would be happy to forward that information to our program directors for the education and business programs as well.
Okay, for students entering the PhD programs who are a bit behind the curve on research and data analysis skills, are there any sort of formal resources available for those students?
Yes, and I would like to let the student who asked that question know that they should not be discouraged in terms of being behind the research curve. A number of our students have not had any formal research experience. And so the purpose of the doctoral programs, both the PhD and the EDD programs, is really to assist students with developing their research expertise, developing their research philosophy. In essence, the core webinar series that we're proposing and implementing right now is an effort to help build that toolkit, not only for research, but also in terms of your professional toolkit. So there are resources available which we're very eager to share with you if you haven't had any research experience prior to entry into the doctoral programs. We have a wonderful dedicated faculty that will work with you at each stage to help you develop that expertise. But one thing that we do mention is that students must be proactive in the process of becoming an independent researcher. And so we encourage students to seek out tools and resources and to read very widely in terms of the literature so that they do develop their expertise. And of course, our faculty are here to assist in that growth.
Okay, it looks like we have a few more for you, Dr. Ramallah. Does Trident provide an editor list for students who are researching?
An editor list, I think I need more clarification on that question.
Okay, well, we'll skip to the next one, and in the meantime, hopefully we can get some clarification. Next question, will there be a webinar related to methodology and qualitative and quantitative research designs?
Yes, there will be. Thank you for asking that question. I could only list a select few in this particular presentation, but we will have webinars focused specifically on quantitative methodology, which would be a separate webinar, and then qualitative methodology.
Next question. When will the IRB webinar be held?
Great question. This will be held in the summer. We will be sending an announcement regarding the particular date once that's set, but it will be held in the summer.
Okay, next question, which I think is a very good question. One of the participants asked that as I reached the PhD 700 series, I got isolated from my virtual classroom. Is there any way that we can share problems and solutions with our former classmates? I know we work on different dissertations, but I think we may have some common areas to share.
Wonderful question, and that's actually one of the goals of CORE, to create a community of scholars. And so right now, as this question is being asked, we are exploring platforms for students to have multidisciplinary engagement, not just within their disciplines of health sciences, business, and education, but for cross-disciplinary engagement and collaborations. So the students, thank you for asking that question. One of the goals of CORE is to have a platform for engagement and for troubleshooting, and basically for you to start viewing yourselves as colleagues that you'll be collaborating with even in the future, because you do become your own experts as you delve deeper into your dissertation. And having that type of dialogue with current students, former students, as well as experts helps in terms of your professional growth. So we are seeking platforms and exploring those platforms to enhance the community of scholars and engagement. Thank you for asking that question.
Okay, and this will be our last question. If there's any other questions, please direct them to Dr. Ramallah at bernice.ramallah@trident.edu. And this is the question we needed some clarification on, so Ken, thank you for providing that. Does TUI provide editors list for students for editing final papers?
I would need to get back to the student on that question. I currently do not have that answer, but if you can send me an email, I can get the answer for you.
Okay, and yeah, that appears to be all the questions we had, so thank you, everyone. Okay.
Thank you. And to learn more about our doctoral programs, please go to www.trident.edu/degrees/doctoral. We are also in the process of having our CORE webinar landing page up and running. So you can visit this in the future at info.trident.edu/core-webinar. Thank you so much for attending. And I also encourage our participants, if you have ideas on future webinars, please feel free to email me those ideas, and we will be sure to take that into consideration. We are here to respond to your professional development needs, and we are looking forward to moving towards addressing your needs. Thank you.